Hi everyone, welcome to our special Facebook Live today. My name is Summer Feng. I'm the IDP Australasia Assistant Destination Manager. With me today, we've got Alice Guan, who is our Destination Migration Manager. Today, we have some crucial updates regarding the genuine student visa requirements. So that is GS requirement that every student must know about. So let's dive straight into it. So Alice, our first topic for discussion is what are the recent student visa update? Alice, over to you.
Hi, Summer. So recently the Department of Home Affairs has made some changes on student visa requirement. The changes are actually two parts. So the first part changes is about raise the English requirement for the student visa. And the second change is about the genuine student test. So in the past, we have genuine temporary entrant, and now we have genuine student. So they are a little bit different. And so Summer, the
Yep.
English requirement has been changed a bit. So do you know what's the changes exactly?
Yeah, thanks, Alice. So the English language requirement has been a significant factor in the student visa applications. So please note that the new English language requirement is effective from last Saturday, which was 23rd of March. So with the latest update, the English language requirement for the general student visa applicant has increased from 5.5 to 6 IELTS point. So for students who are going to study foundation standard program, the English language requirements actually increase from 5 to 5.5. For foundation extended program, the English language requirement has increased from 4.5 to 5 now. So you must have completed the English language requirement test within either the 2 years before the date your visa application has lodged or the 2 years before a decision is made on your visa application if you did not provide evidence of the English language requirement test at the time your application has lodged. So apart from the English language requirements, Alice, we know that the previous students need to satisfy the GTE requirement, and now it is replaced by the genuine student requirement, that is the GS requirement. So could you please explain a bit more about the difference between the GTE and the GS and what are the purpose of that?
Sure, Summer. So I think first I gonna be starting to discuss the importance of the date. So the changes is actually happen on 23rd of March, which is the Saturday, last Saturday, which means if you have applied a student visa before last Saturday, even your visa still not decided yet, they are still gonna assess your student visa based on the old requirement. So you are not under new requirement yet. But if you have submit your student visa on or after Saturday, then they will assess your student visa under the new requirement. So that's the baseline. And apart from that, the previous genuine temporary entrant requirement, we usually provide a statement when you lodge the visa. So the statement is 300 word statement. So it's quite simple and straightforward. It's not that lengthy. Since last Saturday, the department actually break down that statement into a few questions to satisfy the genuine student requirement. And there are 5 questions in the application form, and the maximum word limit for each of the question is about 150 words. So the genuine temporary entrant focus is whether an applicant need to satisfy the requirement that they genuinely intend to stay in Australia temporarily, and the purpose is solely for study, which means they need to go home after complete the study. So that's the genuine temporary entrant. The current genuine student focus is whether the applicant intend to temporarily stay in Australia as a student during the visa period. So this change aim is to direct the assessment towards the student genuine intention to study in Australia and trying to address any non-genuine student seeking to entry into Australia for the purpose other than study. Additionally, I think there is a shift in focus towards compliance, and which means the department will have stricter monitor after the student enter into Australia to see whether they actually started the study. So the student, if you apply the student visa and granted, remember your solely purpose is to study in Australia. So Summer, can you let our student know what are these genuine student questions in the application form?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, Alice. From the online application form on page number 14, we can see that there are 5 questions listed. So the first question is to give the details of the applicant's current circumstances, including ties to family, community, employment, and economic circumstances. Alice, do you have anything want to add for this question?
So when a student answer this type of question, I think there are a few questions underlined that you need to consider. So the first, obviously, like what are your family members in your home country, still residing in your home country, who's not in Australia? Like they are your parents, your siblings, your relatives. And the other thing you need to consider is that your employment. So if you are some student who have been worked before your study in Australia, then what's your employment? And are they relevant to what your previous study? So if it's not relevant, are this employment relevant to the course that you are going to study? So this is something that you need to consider. And of course, there are something else like why Australia as well.
Yeah, so which is actually the second questions that is explain why the applicant wishes to study this course in Australia with this particular education provider, including their understanding of the requirements of the intended course and studying and living in Australia. So in this question, the student need to explain and also show your ability that you have already done some research that why you want to study this course. Maybe you can have a look at on the university's website to understand that what are the job outcomes for this course and what kind of the skill set that you're going to learn and build during the course as well. So Alice, any other points, any other things that you would want to add for this second question?
I think the department also wants you to have a basic understanding, like how much it's gonna cost to live and study in Australia for this duration. So you need to have a reality understanding and whether your family can afford it this cost, and you need to know by yourself how much is the cost, because I know lots of students they are send it by their parents and they don't actually know how much it's going to cost in Australia. And I think that the department just wants you to understand the whole picture better to learn. And also you need to understand, you need to have a clear understanding like why you choose the course that you chose, and why did you choose this particular university and this school or even this type, and is there anything that you did previously that encourage you to go down this path? And if they are not relevant, then is there any particular reason?
Reasons that they have to
Yes.
explain.
And
Yeah.
and also, what's the entry requirement? So you must have known like what's the entry requirement for this course and why did you get in? And what the university gonna teach and what's the curriculum. So there are lots of things you need to consider before you enter this question.
Yeah, that's totally agree with that. Student need to consider about the financial, like the cost studying and living, and also like do the research about this course and these institutions as well. And that actually leads to the third GS question, which is that the student need to explain how completing the course will be benefit to the applicant. So for example, the student may need to explain that after completing this course, what are they going to do? Why this skill set and knowledge will benefit for their future career in terms of job, or if you want to do the further study for your research or anything like that. So yeah, Alice, do you want to add anything about this question as well?
Yeah, so I think you need to have a clear understanding and career plan before you apply for this visa. Let's say, what's the exactly career outcome out of this course? So we know lots of students study, let's say, Master of IT, and they will say, I'll just become an IT. But IT have like almost like you can say 30 occupation out of IT. Do you want to be a software engineer? Do you want to be business analysis? Do you want to become a data a person more of analyze the data. So you need to consider exactly what your career goal that you set yourself, and how do you plan to find a job? Do you know when the graduate program starts, and do you consider any internship during the study? So, did you research like? Some students saying, well, IT make lots of money. That's why I want to choose IT. But do you know exactly how much that you're gonna earn with this degree? And like all the 30 IT occupations, which one that you choose and earn the most? Like you need to have a basic understanding. And if you are not gonna like say work in your home country, and for some Chinese student may say, oh, I may need to go to United States to find a job, or I may consider to find a job in Hong Kong. And then did you ever actually research the local job market to see if this occupation is actually needed there? So that's, I think you need to actually looking into that as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Alice. And I know that there are lots of information that we need to include in this application as well. So that's why the number, like the fourth questions in this GS question is that the student will have opportunity to give details of any other relevant information that the applicant would like to include. For example, you may also want to mention about the study gap, the visa histories that you have, if you have the multiple visas before or had visa refusal history, then you also must provide that relevant information in these questions as well.
Yeah, so if you have applied a visa to Australia or any other country, and then when did you apply it? And was that successful? Was that refused? And if that's refused, and why did that refuse? So you may need to include those information in this section. And also, let's say if you have a study gap more than 2 months, during those periods which are not school holidays. And then what did you do during that 2 months, or say half year or 1 year? What did you do? Did you find a job, or did you prepare for other exam, or what have you done? And so that there are things that more individualized and case by case that you can include in this section.
Yeah. So it's again, this question is more tailored to the case by case students. Yeah. And then also the last question for the GS requirement is that a student need to provide a detailed history of the applicant's study record in Australia from the date of first arrival. So again, student, I would suggest you to, have a record as well to see and notes about what kind of the history that since you arrived in Australia, what did you do to your study? So basically, from when to when, and it's also better to look at their previous COE as well, which stated about their course start date and end date.
Yeah,
Yep,
I think that
Alice.
this question is more about onshore student. So which
Yes.
means that you're already here and lodge another visa. The department is keen to study that have you studied before? And if you have, then what did you completed? And if you didn't complete, and then why you didn't complete? And have you transferred from one course to another course without completing it? Then what happened and why did you transfer? And more personal circumstances, like if you have been excluded, unfortunately being excluded by some school, and then what's the reason for that? And if you, after the exclusion, you transfer a new school and you perform well, and how did you get onto the right path? So I think those kind of information that you can include here.
Yep, that's amazing to know, Alice. So basically, students, you need to fill in those 5 questions in the online form. And also the student need to write the GS answer in each box with 150 word limit for each question. So Alice, student used to say, "Oh, please find the attached document in the, in actually the chat box, the answer box on the online form, rather than writing the actual paragraph in the box." So, do you still recommend a student to do that?
I think the department made it quite clear that they want to have strict answers, simple and straightforward. I think I would recommend to include exact answers in the GS question answer box in the application form rather than stating refer to my attachment. Unless you have really complicated paths and a very complex scenario that the 150 words is not going to be enough, then you can have a statement attached. Other than that, I still recommend everyone just write the answer in the box.
Yep, sure. So still remember to, write your answer paragraph in the box. And then meanwhile, at the end, you will still need to upload the GS documents as well. So overall, student is required to explain the study and visa history, explain the value of the course to their future, reasons why he or she wants to study and live in Australia, as well as the other relevant information to support the application. So, Alice, my last question is that, do you know what kind of documents a student need to provide and support their application?
Yeah, it actually doesn't really change that much. So they just need to provide basic documents. So if a student applying in Australia, then they need to have a passport, obviously, and they need to have overseas student health insurance settled before they apply for the visa. And they need to provide genuine student evidence or statement. And for some students, they may be required to show evidence of their finance and English, but this case by case. So it's really crucial to gather all the necessary documents in advance to ensure that you meet all the requirements set by the immigration authorities. And please don't forget to double check everything before you submit the application to avoid any delays or complications.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Alice. It's really important to gather all the information and also prepare the application and your documents as soon as possible to avoid a further delay. And we understand that the process might be complicated. If you're not sure, please find a trustworthy agents like IDP to guide you through the process. So to provide you with the personalized guidance, we are offering one-on-one consultation sections with experienced registered migration agents and education counselors. Our consultation and services are designed to address your specific questions and concerns, ensuring that you have the support and information that you need to navigate the visa and education process successfully. Thank you so much, Alice, and everyone for joining us today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly. For more information on how to contact us, please see the below given link. And we hope this section is helpful to you, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.